Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. This team just dropped 3 straight games, and all of a sudden, they are no longer in a commanding lead of the AFC South. They are now atop the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans at 8-5. I am disappointed by Trevor Lawrence's play. I thought that Trevor Lawrence would put himself in that top 5 category of being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. Trevor Lawrence has 18 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Now, this is not me saying that he is the sole reason to why this team has lost football games the last 3 weeks, because he is not. The defense has not helped him out. But Trevor Lawrence has to stop turning the football over. It is ridiculous at this point. The fumbles have to stop and the interceptions have to stop as well. When he goes against teams that get a very good pass rush without blitzing, he looks like a deer in headlights at times. Trevor Lawrence is better than this. He has all world potential to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Unfortunately, in his second year with Doug Peterson, that has not materialized just yet. Last season, he was phenomenal. This team rallied around him. They got things better after having that horrendous first season underneath Urban Meyer. But Trevor Lawrence has regressed from last season. Travis Etienne is a very good running back with this team. He has 837 rushing yards on the season and 9 rushing touchdowns, but he's only averaging 3.7 yards a carry. The offensive line has not been good this year with this team. They can't get things going up front. And they definitely do miss Jawan Taylor, but you see how Jawan Taylor's performing with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm pretty sure they made the right decision. But the tackles with this team are definitely weak. The wide receivers have been hit or miss at times. Calvin Ridley has 781 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Zay Jones has missed a good portion of the season dealing with a knee injury, and he is still not 100%. He's playing with that big knee brace on his leg to where he's not able to cut like how he was last season. And when he run past corners, he can't stop on a dime and make a move in the open field like how he was last season because of that knee brace. So he's not the same wide receiver. Evan Ingram has still been a phenomenal tight end this season with this team, but this team had a lot of drops early on this season, and that put them behind the 8 ball. And with that being paired with Trevor Lawrence interceptions and with the offensive line not being up to standard, that's a big reason to why this team is struggling to win as of late. And you go back and look at the Cincinnati Bengals game. They were in that game. Trevor Lawrence went out with an ankle injury. It looked like it was worse than what it was. I'm glad for him that it was just an ankle sprain. He's still able to play. But late in that game, the backup quarterback came in, and he played particularly well. He threw basically a Hail Mary pass right at the goal line. They converted it, and that would have put them in field goal range to possibly win the game. You never know with this kicker, because look what happened yesterday against the Baltimore Ravens, even though it was a windy game. The problem with this team in that game was this. The referees basically took it from them. They threw the flag and said it was holding. So they had to punt the football to the Cincinnati Bengals. You basically trust your defense, a defense that has not been good on the back half of the season. Yes, you have tremendous players like Trevon Walker, like Josh Allen, but your secondary has not been good. This is a 27th ranked passing defense in the NFL, and that is with names like Tyson Campbell and Darius Williams. Tyson Campbell is a very good corner. He was phenomenal last season. This season, he regressed. But the thing is with Tyson Campbell, he's missed some time dealing with an injury. But when he went against the Cincinnati Bengals, he was giving up a lot of big plays. And you look at Darius Williams, had a tremendous start of the season. As we come down the stretch, hasn't been as good. But you look at guys like Josh Allen, one of the best defending players in the NFL. He's phenomenal. Josh Allen should be in Defensive Player of the Year conversation. He has 13.5 sacks on the season, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 interception. And Trevon Walker is also a very good pass rusher with this team. 6 sacks on the season, but he's able to go out there, get pressure, stop the run, and walk the running backs back. But besides those 2 players, you have a lot of inconsistent play on the defensive side of the football. Devin Lloyd is also a very good linebacker with this team. He's been up and down this season, hasn't been that same linebacker that he was from last season. So you're starting to see a lot of these players regress from last season. They have to be better. You look at that Cincinnati Bengals game, like I mentioned before, you say that's on the referees, but you go back and look at that San Francisco 49ers game, it was completely embarrassing to only score 3 points. When they first drafted Trevor Lawrence, it was a thought that kid was going to come out of college and turn this thing completely around. They have had some success with Trevor Lawrence. They made the playoffs last year. They beat the Los Angeles Chargers when they were down 27-0. That was phenomenal. But this season, he hasn't been that same quarterback, and only scoring 3 points against the San Francisco 49ers, that's a tough look. And the way that they lost against the Cleveland Browns is also a tough look as well. It was a close game, but Trevor Lawrence, those turnovers came and bit him again. He had 3 interceptions in that game with 3 touchdowns. If he can just cut down on turnovers, he'll be a significantly better quarterback with this team. And against the Baltimore Ravens, for them to get in the red zone as many times and they couldn't score, that is definitely holding this team back. And that's another thing to talk about as well. The red zone offense at times is putrid, is horrible. The missed field goals definitely played a part in it. But you look at what the Baltimore Ravens were able to do. They were bullying the team around on both fronts, on the defensive side and on the offensive side in the trenches. You go back and look at the Kansas City Chiefs game. They basically had that game won if they could score in the red zone. Unfortunately, they couldn't. They couldn't get their feet down. The wide receivers were running the wrong route. Trevor Lawrence not on the same page with the wide receivers. They have to clean that up if they want to make a deep playoff run. But right now, I believe this team has reached their ceiling with this current roster. They need to go out there and get extra help this offseason if they cannot turn things around. Calvin Ridley is supposed to come in and be that true number 1 wide receiver for this team. He's been good, but it's the other pieces around him that have to step up. Evan Ingram, very good tight end. It's just unfortunate that Zay Jones is dealing with that injury right now. And you look at Christian Kirk from last season. Christian Kirk was phenomenal last season, had over 1,000 yards receiving, was the go-to guy for Trevor Lawrence at times when Zay Jones could not get loose. You look at Christian Kirk now, dealing with injuries, can't get things going. He's on IR. 787 receiving yards on the season, 3 touchdowns. That's it. And he's going to miss the next couple of weeks, pretty much the rest of the season. He can return if they make a deep playoff run. He got hurt against Cincinnati Bengals. So they're dealing with a lot of injuries right now, and they're dealing with turnovers from Trevor Lawrence. That's not a recipe for a winning formula for this team. And it's really disappointing. But let me know in the comment section below how do you feel about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and can they win out, and can they still win this division? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.